Welcome to the Self-Awareness and Self-Compassion Podcast, formerly known as the Full Spectrum Feeling Podcast. I'm your host, Blaise Schwaller, life coach, mom, and former tattoo artist. I help people heal their past, speak their truth, and love the lives that they're living now. Join me here every week for conversations on how to live an imperfect but fully engaged life that embraces all the feels so that you can stretch into your best life while enjoying the you that's here right now. Hey everybody, it is the last episode of 2021. I can't freaking believe it. Oh, let's celebrate. Da-da-da-da-da. I made a podcast and I put one out every week. Go me. But what I really want to talk about in reality this week is about hard work, what it looks like when it's actually paying off, and the way that I can look at actual changes in my life, in the outcomes of my work and the outcomes of how I'm parenting, all of that stuff, and how much it happens weirdly subtly, even as big things are happening. And I want to point that out because I suspect that everyone deals with this to a varying degree in their own lives too. So I'm going to start by saying that this year has been a massive, massive year of growth for my business. And I started out this podcast thinking that it was about my business, but it turns out it's actually just about sorting thoughts and speaking my mind and sharing that with you guys. And if that leads to business, that's fantastic. I would love to work with you. But that actually isn't the heart of the podcast. Really, it's been about me really finding my voice and finding what it is that I have to give and what it is that I want to share. And I want to thank you guys. Thank you so much for being with me on this self-discovery journey. And I hope that it's helped you discover some stuff about yourself as well. Now, that being said, it has been a massive year of growth for my business as well. So while at the beginning of the year, I really thought the podcast was the thing about my business that was really going to make financial impact in my business. So I want to clarify that there's a difference between financial impact and impact in general. The podcast has definitely impacted the way that I think about myself as a professional, the way that I think of myself as someone who shows up each and every week to provide something. So that definitely has played in to my image of myself as a life coach and as a business owner and as a professional. So that's cool. But where the financials and all of that stuff come in, oh my gosh, you guys. So I invested so much money this year on myself as a life coach, as a human being getting coaching, realizing that there was some stuff I really needed to frickin' figure out. Because let's face it, everybody, like we all have blind spots. And it's why we get frustrated because we're like, God damn it, I can't see what I'm doing wrong, but I know clearly I must be doing something not right if I'm not getting the result that I want. And that's the beauty of coaching, right? You find someone who's able to coach you through those blind spots and suddenly you're making progress again. So this has been a huge year of me really being brutally honest with myself about where I'm doing well and where I'm pitiful and where I could just use some work and where there were knowledge gaps. I would say some of it was just flat out training. Like, I don't know how to do this thing. Please teach me how to do this thing. I thought I knew how to do it, but I'm not doing it. Why? And having someone come with those outside eyes and say, okay, this is how you do it. Let's see how you're doing it. And be able to point out you're not at all doing what you think that you're doing. Very, very helpful, very humbling, but very effective. And now that it's the end of the year, okay, let me backtrack. I had a vision. Let's talk about that. We'll start there. I had a vision for the year, and the vision for the year was that, the pandemic's going to end. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, that didn't happen. The other vision was that, my kid's going to go to school, and it's going to be amazing, and that did happen. I really thought that I would be able to ramp up businessy things really in the spring. I was ready to freaking go in the spring. And then stuff happened that got in the way. So, pandemic was still happening. My mother-in-law got sick. We ended up just kind of refocusing on family and things that needed to happen. And so I had invested a great deal of money early in the spring to learn some skills that it's interesting now with hindsight, looking back, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't actually have the time and momentum to get into that because it's not actually what I wanted to be doing. Very interesting. However, that training had a few different components. One was about groups and programs and running group activities, group coaching. And it also had some good sales information in general because I really felt like I lack in sales calls. I just didn't know what the hell I was doing. And it was very stressful for me as someone who needs to sell things in order to make money. To not feel like I have a handle on that is, it's depressing, it's disturbing, and I did not like it. So I was getting help for that. And I did do the trainings. I got about, I'm going to say halfway through their trainings around when, I just got derailed. And I want to look at myself with some honesty and say, did I get derailed or did I derail myself? I might have to say I derailed myself. There were choices to be made, and I made the choice to not focus there. However, having had that experience early in the year, when school started in September for my daughter, I was like, okay, this finally, it's my time to shine. Here we go. And I'll be honest with you, like up until that point in the year, my income was just like flatlined at almost nothing. I was like, but it's going to be okay because we've got September, October, November, December. It's going to be amazing. So off she goes to school. And within the first 2 weeks, she got sent home because of a COVID exposure. And we were back in my mind where we were at the beginning. And I know I've mentioned this in a prior podcast where I'm like, fuck my life. We never get to have anything nice. Gah, what's happening? And I will admit I laid on the floor and cried about this for a day. And then I peeled myself off of the floor and said, okay, this is your choice again. Are you going to make the same choice that you did last time, which resulted in like $0 in your business? Or are you going to just woman up and do your job anyway and figure it the fuck out, Blaze? Because you can't keep making the choice that every time it gets difficult, you choose to just do what's familiar, which is take care of your family, and you're great at that. But what if you can take care of them and also take care of your business? And I guess for me, I just never believed in my heart that that was a possible thing, that I could both take care of my business and take care of my family. So that was the hard work for me. And I started to look for help for that. And it's not easy and it's not perfect, but I recognized this will keep happening. Like how can I, every time my kid has school break, think that I can't do any work or serve people? That doesn't make any sense. And for some reason, my brain really believed that this was true. And it was trying to prevent me from having to deal with that cold, harsh reality that it really believed in by just shutting emotionally down and being like, we're just not going to do it. Focus elsewhere. Just, go take your kid on a walk and do the same thing you do every day. So getting past that barrier was huge. And I've looked at my company start to make money September, October, November, December. And, from quarter 3 to quarter 4, I have 10x'd my income. And I'm watching it do it again in a 2-week span right now before Christmas. So I'm recording this a few weeks before the very last episode of the year. But that's where I'm at. And it occurs to me that this is what growth looks like. It does weird exponential things. And it is what we look at when we see other people succeeding and we go, oh, look at that. Like they're just out the gate doing crazy. And the truth is out the gate for me was 3.5 years ago. So out the gate, it's been slow and stumbling and it looked like nothing was happening. And some of it was backsliding down a ravine going, what the hell am I doing? And now it's finally starting on that up curve. And one, I just want to celebrate the hell out of that because it's amazing. And I feel amazing and I love what I do. And the more I do it, the more I feel like, oh, right, this is the person that I am. This is who I am. I show up. I have decent knowledge and a good ability to help people through their shit. And I help them get through their shit. And I love it. It's valuable. It changes people's goddamn lives. And it's awesome. And I am allowed to charge for that and have a decent life. Like even around that, I don't look at my life and think like, oh no, I've left my family behind. I'm actually like, wait, I actually show up better. I show up happier. I have like happy, higher emotions that are contributing to just more joy in general. It's me feeling able to offer Like, hey, I'm going to get to take my kid on a shopping trip in January if I feel like it, to pick out something nice, because that'll be like money that I've earned that I don't have to go, oh gosh, can I afford it? I'm so freaking grateful. It's been a long time since I felt like that was coming, and now I know it's coming, and now I'm standing in that, and I am 100% believing that I understand how I made it happen, so I know I can make it happen again. And it's what I'm enjoying, sharing and coaching people through in their lives, is to realize, like, wait, we can figure out how to get the result that you want. We can test it out. We're going to get you there, and you're going to understand how you got the result, so it's repeatable. And once you have that knowledge, just everything, it just settles down into knowing that's who you are instead of wondering or hoping that's who you are. And I guess that's really what this year has been. I've gone from hoping that I was a person to becoming that person, and it's badass, y'all. It's awesome. And I want that for everybody. And I want to remind you that we've all gone through this cycle several times in our lives. This is not the first time that I've, suddenly, quote unquote, stumbled into success after years of hard work. But it's nice to be in this particular space again. And I'm really recording this to remind myself of the next time I'm in that phase, really the phase before this, where it just feels like all you're doing is nothing, like you're just treading water and you're trying really hard and nothing is really working, that it is building up. It's building up experience. It's building up value. It's building up your ability to know what's working, what isn't, and why you're getting the results, so that when you get to this point where you start gaining traction, it means something, and you actually have enough knowledge of what you want and where you're going that you can direct that energy well. You can create it into what you want. And that's something else that's really awesome to look at as the year wraps up, right? Is where have you been and where do you want to go? And what kind of momentum do you have going into this new year that you want to really keep? What energy do you have, and where could you direct it where it's just the most useful, the most effective? And what kind of a container do you want to create for your year? So I guess that's the second half of this particular podcast, is looking at the year ahead and imagining, how do I want that year to feel? What kind of things do I want to make space for, so that as all this momentum, fills things up, and I, round out my business and I fill up my calendar, where is full? Because we get to decide that, which is really interesting. So how full is full? How many things do I want to do? How many objects do I want to own? How many clients do I want to have? How much sleep do I want? How much exercise? It's weird because we have so many things that we actually get to decide on. And I think that's magnificent. And I look at the year ahead and I go, I want a lot of room for my health. I want a lot of room for connecting with my kid and just making really fun memories while she's still young. Like, she's 5.5. She'll be 6 next year. I want space to really enjoy that. I want to have a full calendar. And for me, it's so crazy because I think at the beginning of my career, I felt like I need to have 30 clients or 100 clients or affect 1 million lives. Here you go. I got a letter from to the future from my past self. I do that sometimes on Future Me. It's a great little website where you can write a letter to yourself or an email, and it'll send it on the day that you want to yourself. So I had a little package sent to myself from when I first started my business, it was about 3 years ago. And it's hilarious. Like, I read this and I went, how my actual desires have changed. And I think it's cool because our desires do change, and what we think we want and what we actually want are often quite different. So I had this grandiose idea at the beginning of coaching. I'm like, I want to, change 1 million lives, and I'm going to have so many clients, and this is going to be amazing. And it just smacks so naive to me right now to reread that. But also it's a lofty and wonderful goal. Like, of course I want to help a lot of people, but I'm realizing that I can help a magnitude higher of people by really helping a smaller number more intensely, and watch them ripple out and do that, not for me, but like because of the work. And a full client calendar for me is 14 people. If I have 14 appointments a week, I am gold. I'm so happy. That's what I want. I don't want more than that. What a relief. And if people are rotating through, then it's more people. But I mean, if they are just my consistent clients and I talk to them every week, I've changed 14 lives dramatically for the better, and every life they touch has changed. So I don't have to worry about that number. I'm kind of relieving myself of that pressure to be like, well, you're only going to be a success if you reach 100 people or 300 people or 3,000 people or 3 million people. Like my number was 1 million people, you guys. No wonder I was stressed out and not ready to start. That felt so huge and overwhelming. And I have no doubt that I'll hit a point where I'll want that again. Currently, I do doubt that. But there may be a day where I want that huge of a people count in my impact. But what I've really learned going through this year, through this whole process and moving into the future is that impact is not defined by the quantity of people. It's like the magnitude of the transformation. And that I feel really comfortable with what I do and how I do it and the way that I fit in the world and the way that I help people. What a freaking relief. It's so awesome. I love my life. I'm so grateful. So to any of you listening, if you're wanting to transform your life, to get into your thoughts and really understand what's kicking around in there so that you can figure out what's working, what isn't, how to actually repeat the result that you want and stop repeating the result that you don't want, that is something I kick ass at and I really help people do. And I help them through understanding their emotions around it, understanding where those thought patterns are coming from and where they're coming up. And I do it in a light and easy way. We're really practical and it's fun. If you want to come join me and be one of my 14 people, I would be so honored. Let's kick ass together in the new year. And if not, and you know someone, send them my way. And if you don't even know that, just come and listen to the podcast because it's fun. So thank you all so, so much for being with me through this crazy, crazy ride that was 2021. I wish you every blessing in this new year. May you be healthy, happy, have just a great impact on the people in your life. May you just bring joy everywhere you go. And may you achieve your dreams, in whatever capacity that is. And if you realize that your dreams have changed, be easy with yourself and just laugh and delight in it, that it's so awesome that we get to do that. We can change what we want. And that's great. And for any reason at all, and it's all good. So may you go forward with every good thing in your heart and in your world. And I will see you in the new year. Thanks so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share it with someone you love and leave us a review. You can learn more and get some self-compassion tips and tricks by visiting coachwithblaze.com, where you can sign up to get my free booklet on overcoming anxiety, overwhelm, exhaustion, and burnout. I'm sending you so much appreciation and love, and I'll see you next time.